Let's quickly look at 10 episodes of The Simpsons in 10 minutes. What happens when Marge gets a new body? The episode starts with Homer and Lisa participating in building homes for homeless. During the project, Homer mistakenly gives the impression that he is divorced to the women around him. Marge sees Homer flexing his muscles in front of women and worries that he has lost interest in her. Following Mangela's advice, she goes for liposuction but ends up with breast implants intended for someone else after the doctor accidentally swaps the patients. Marge requests that the implants be removed but is told to come back after 1 week. She tries to hide them from the family, but Homer sees them as they go to sleep and loves them. Marge's new implants cause problems and attract unwanted attention. She even becomes a model. Meanwhile, Bart and Milhouse's stunt gets Krusty in trouble, prompting a protest against the clown for being too dangerous. Bart devises a plan to restore Krusty's reputation by staging a rescue from Stampy the elephant. The plan goes awry as the elephant tries to eat Bart, Homer, and Milhouse. The police want to shoot the elephant with people in its mouth, but Marge distracts the crowd with her new breasts, allowing Krusty to save Bart, Milhouse, and Homer without harming them. Marge finally has her implants removed, and Homer is glad to have her back to normal. What happens to the Simpsons in the future? The episode starts with Marge finding Homer hungover in the kitchen. Despite his promise to improve, Homer suffers a heart attack and dies. At his funeral, Professor Frink reveals a Homer clone, which soon dies, leading to a series of unfortunate Homer clone deaths. 30 years in the future, the Simpsons, including Lisa's husband Milhouse and Bart's kids Picard and Kirk, attend another Homer clone's funeral. Frink, unable to clone Homer again, uploads his consciousness to a computer screen. Fed up, Marge ejects the flash drive and gives it to Bart. Bart, living in an abandoned classroom, visits his ex-wife Jenda and her alien husband Jerry. Feeling lost, Bart seeks a clinic to erase memories of past relationships. Meanwhile, Lisa, working at a zombie soup kitchen, is confronted by a zombie Milhouse. Lisa finds his zombie form more attractive, despite Dr. Hibbert's offer to cure him. Bart dates other women, but reconnects with Jenda when Jerry leaves her. Marge joins Homer in the digital realm, leading to a bizarre scene where Homer's game character eats Marge's digital head. Bart realizes his relationship with Jenda isn't working, and she admits to seeing Jerry again. Bart finally gets over Jenda with the clinic's help. The episode ends with Homer in a robot body, performing chores, while Marge shows affection for his new form. How does every Simpson character die? In the future, Mr. Burns marries Angelina Jolie, causing Smithers to unalive himself at 50 years old. Homer, at 59, is shot by police while carrying a sandwich which was mistaken for a weapon. Chief Wiggum eats it, then chokes to death at 62. Marge, remarried to Ned, peacefully passes at 84. Ned adds her portrait to his wall of deceased wives. Seymour Skinner, 119 and in a wheelchair, dies from a heart attack triggered by Bart's fireworks. His corpse accidentally kills an 80-year-old Bart after getting run over. Lisa, living as a Buddhist monk, meditates to death at 98, realizing it was all pointless. Ralph Wiggum, now 120 and a king, is poisoned by his descendant, who takes the throne. Maggie, she never dies, instead transforming into a powerful, moving constellation. What happens to Bart Simpson in the future? At age 12, Bart continues being a troublemaker and remains frustrated by being overshadowed by Lisa. At age 15, he decides to become a professional BMX rider as a way of standing out, but he gets injured during a stunt. Lisa rescues him and is seen as the hero, continuing to overshadow Bart. At age 18, Bart meets a girl named Jenda and tries to establish a relationship with her, but she turns him down. He also works at the Quick E-Mart. At age 20, Bart becomes a professional artist after Lisa encourages him to follow his passion and opens a bike customization shop. At 25, Bart works as a demolition expert and has already been divorced twice. He also plans to study law. At 40, he becomes an alcoholic and a failed musician. He has 2 kids with Jenda, but she divorces him. At 41, Bart and Jenda get back together, but their relationship ends after a mutual breakup. At 50, he becomes the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. At age 70, Bart and Milhouse live at the Springfield retirement castle. At 80, Bart sets off fireworks reading "Skinner Sucks," which causes Skinner to have a fatal heart attack. In a twist of fate, Skinner's corpse then rolls over and kills Bart with a wheelchair. Homer Simpson becomes a priest. The episode starts with Springfield's tourism industry collapsing after professional tourist Howell Huser gives the town a terrible rating due to Bart and Milhouse's pranks. To revive the economy, Lisa suggests legalizing same-sex marriage, drawing numerous gay and lesbian couples to Springfield. Seizing the opportunity, Homer becomes an ordained minister online and starts marrying couples to make some quick cash. Meanwhile, Marge's sister Patty reveals she is a lesbian and plans to marry her girlfriend Veronica. Marge struggles with this revelation. Later on, Marge discovers that Veronica is actually a man named Leslie, who has been posing as a woman to compete in women's golf. On the day of the wedding, Marge exposes Leslie's secrets.
Veronica is a man.
Look at the size of that Adam's apple!
Leslie still wants to go through with the wedding, but Patty rejects him, affirming that she is only interested in women. The episode ends with Patty and Marge reconciling, as Marge comes to accept Patty for who she is. What happens when Lady Gaga visits Springfield? Lisa struggles with her popularity after being voted the most unpopular student.
That's my brother.
To change her image, she ghostwrites positive things about herself on the school's blog. However, Bart exposes her plan, making things worse. Gaga, passing through Springfield on her way to a concert, becomes aware of Lisa's sadness and decides to help. After an awkward start, Gaga visits the Simpsons' home to cheer Lisa up, but Lisa remains downhearted. Marge explains to Gaga that she has always found it difficult to raise Lisa because she is very intelligent and talented. Marge starts crying about her struggles with Lisa, and Gaga tries to comfort her by holding her hand. Marge initially resists and states that hand-holding doesn't work for her anymore. Eventually, Gaga kisses Marge as a way of comforting her. This excites Marge, and she runs off to be affectionate with Homer. Despite her efforts, Lady Gaga can't seem to lift Lisa's spirits, leading Lisa to lash out.
I denounce thee! I denounce thee!
Whoa. Easy, little monster.
Later, Lisa realizes that expressing her anger helps her heal and that she doesn't care what others think of her popularity. She apologizes, and she and Lady Gaga share a heartfelt duet before Gaga departs. What happens when Mr. Burns discovers he has a son? The episode starts with Mr. Burns returning from a college football game on his train. Larry, a souvenir stand operator, realizes Burns is his father. After comparing an old photo of Burns, he tries to catch up but fails, only able to get the destination from the conductor. Larry hitches a ride with the Simpsons to Burns' mansion. Burns confirms Larry's identity by checking for a family birthmark on his head. Burns and Larry try to bond, but Larry's behavior embarrasses Burns at a high society gala. Burns gives Larry a job at the power plant, where he becomes friends with Homer, making him worse after bonding with Homer. Burns grows fed up with Larry and disowns him. Homer suggests a fake kidnapping to make Burns appreciate Larry. Homer and Larry hide in the Simpsons' basement. They move to a movie theater where the police surround them. The police try to arrest Homer for kidnapping, but Larry admits he supported the kidnapping idea to receive attention from his father. Burns acknowledges Larry, but says he can't be the family Larry needs. Larry decides to go back to his own wife and kids and throws a street party before leaving. What happens when the Simpsons visit China? The episode starts with Selma discovering she's entered menopause and becomes depressed at the thought of never having children. Inspired by Lisa's suggestion to adopt, Selma tries to adopt a baby from China but faces a problem. China only allows married couples to adopt. Desperate, she lists Homer as her husband on the adoption paperwork. Though reluctant, Homer agrees after Marge convinces him it's for Selma's happiness. The Simpson family travels to China with Selma to help her adopt a baby. They meet the adoption agent, Madame Wu, who is suspicious but allows the process to proceed. While waiting, the family explores China, and Homer gets into mischief, pretending to be an acrobat and getting injured in a stunt. Selma eventually adopts a baby girl named Ling, but when Madame Wu catches Homer and Marge being affectionate, she realizes the marriage is a sham and takes Ling back. Determined to get Ling, the family sneaks Homer into the nursery disguised as a golden Buddha statue and gets back the baby. After a confrontation in Tiananmen Square, Selma convinces Madame Wu to let her keep Ling by appealing to her own experience being raised by a single mother. The episode ends with Selma happily leaving China with Ling in her arms. What happens when Lisa meets a fortune teller? The episode starts with the Simpsons at a Renaissance fair, where Lisa encounters a mysterious fortune teller who offers a glimpse into her future. In the future, Lisa is 23 years old. She meets Hugh Parkfield, a British student at university. Initially, they don't get along and quarrel a lot, but after spending some time together and realizing how similar they are, they quickly fall in love, and Hugh proposes. Lisa is thrilled but nervous about introducing Hugh to her family due to their odd behavior. When the couple visits Springfield, Lisa's fears are confirmed as her family unintentionally embarrasses her. Homer gives Hugh a pair of tacky pig-themed cufflinks, a family heirloom, and Hugh reluctantly agrees to wear them at the wedding. However, on the big day, Hugh reveals his plan to return to England immediately after the wedding and never see Lisa's family again. This revelation devastates Lisa, who loves her family despite their flaws, leading her to call off the wedding. Back in the present, the fortune teller concludes the story, and Lisa, though saddened by the outcome, finds comfort in spending time with her family, no matter how uncultured they are. The episode starts with the Springfield nuclear power plant's annual softball signups. Initially uninterested, the workers join when Homer reveals his secret weapon, a homemade bat called Wonder Bat, made from a tree branch struck by lightning. With Wonder Bat, Homer leads the team to an undefeated season. As the team prepares for the championship against the Shelbyville nuclear power plant, Mr. Burns bets $1 million on their victory. To ensure a win, Burns recruits Major League Baseball players Roger Clemens, Wade Boggs, Ken Griffey Jr., Steve Sachs, Ozzie Smith, Jose Canseco, Don Mattingly, Darryl Strawberry, and Mike Cioscia, who take token jobs at the plant. Before the game, bizarre mishaps prevent the professional players from participating, like Steve Sachs is arrested and Mike Cioscia is hospitalized with radiation poisoning. With only Darryl Strawberry left, Burns plays him and benches Homer. In the final inning, with the game tied and bases loaded, Burns pinch hits Homer for Strawberry. Homer, distracted by Burns' signals, is hit in the head by the first pitch, forcing in the winning run and rendering him unconscious. The Springfield team wins, and Homer is celebrated as a hero. What happens to the Griffins in the future? The episode starts with Peter and Lois teaching Stewie to swim, but his competitive nature leads to a near-fatal accident. After a vision of hell, Stewie tries to improve his behavior to avoid eternal damnation, but fails, becoming a less ambitious alcoholic. Stewie sees a man on TV in San Francisco who looks like him and believes this man is his real father. Determined to meet him, Stewie and Brian embark on a trip to San Francisco. Stewie finds the man, who reveals he is not Stewie's father, but an older version of Stewie named Stu on a time travel vacation. Stewie stows away with Stu to the future and discovers that his future self is a lonely virgin living in a filthy apartment and working at Quahog Circuit Shack. Brian has died, Chris married a woman who tried to put Lois and Peter in a retirement home, and Meg transitioned and changed her name to Ron. Disgusted by his future, Stewie tries to improve Stu's life by cleaning his apartment and helping him lose his virginity, leading to Stu losing his job and his apartment burning down. Determined to change his fate, Stewie travels back in time to prevent the childhood accident that led to his future downfall. He successfully prevents the accident, but in doing so, causes future Stewie to be vaporized, creating a paradox.